Hello, Regina. Good evening. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Regina, welcome to this session. This is the session number 5. In this session, we're gonna continue talking about task construction, okay? And we got a little introduction. Could you please read the introduction first?
Yes. Test construction, it is a crucial part of assessment in education. As well-designed tests ensure that students are evaluated fairly, accurately based on learning objectives. In this session, we will explore the essential step in test construction, from defining the test objects to determining the grading system. Understanding these steps will help create reliable and valid assessment that accurately measure a student's performance.
Okay, very good. So in this one, as I told at the beginning, we're gonna continue talking about the test constructions. We're gonna see the steps, how to make a specification, okay, table. We're gonna see the key point that we can include there. Our objective for this session is to understand and apply the key steps in test construction to design fair, valid, and reliable assessment that effectively measure student learning. And as usually, we're gonna start with a speaking activity. I would like to know how much you know about task construction, and we're gonna start with this question: why do teachers need to create well-structured tasks? What do you think?
Mm, okay, so for example, let's suppose that I am a teacher, right?
Yeah,
So I need to structure well my test because I need that all my students work in the different English skills. For example, I would like to have a test where they can practice grammar, listening, speaking activities, not only focus in one uh, English skill, because if I only focus just, for example, in grammar, so my students, they will they will be good, but just in grammar activities, but in
yeah.
listening or speaking activities, so they will be lost. So that's the main reason that I need to cover, all the skills, that is grammar, listening, speaking activities, writing activities, in order that they be ready for, the skills, the English skills.
Yes, and don't forget that when constructing a test, we also have to take into account or keep in mind the principal assessment, okay, like validity, reliability, fairness, because this is gonna help to measure students, okay, knowledge and
Yes.
skills accurately, as you said before. Okay, good. What about this? What challenges do you think teachers face when designing a test?
Well, I think that performance of my students, for example, as you know, everybody learn in a different way. So I think that one of the main problems, it will be to, how can I say that in English? Like to well, the English level, right?
Mhm, yeah.
Some students have a high level, some are medium, or, well, things like
Mhm.
that. So I think that create a test, so for all my students be able to do that without any problem. So
Mhm.
I think that is the English level. It could be the problem.
Yeah, and according to that explanation, so it's related to the selection of the right question types, right?
Mm-hmm.
As you said, because if we got beginners students and you designed the test for a, sorry, questions for students B1, so it's gonna be difficult for them, right?
Yeah.
That could be
Challenge.
one of the
Yes.
challenges that we got, okay? Okay, good. What about the third one? What do you think makes a test effective?
Um, well, I think that mm in order that a test be effective, first of all, they need to have clear instructions,
Mhm,
easy instructions to follow. Um, and well, focusing also in, the things that I would like to prove that my
mhm.
students learned during the course.
Yeah, good. Okay, let's move on to next. How would you design a test to assess speaking skills?
Um, let me let me think about it.
Okay.
Um, well, it could be to ask my students to it could be a video or art or audio to record themselves. Um, it could be for a random topic. So I think that they will improve the grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, and also the speaking skill.
Mhm.
So
And which kind of activity would you use if you want to enhance the soft skills like pronunciation, as you said, and fluency?
mm, well, in speaking activities.
Okay. Do you think that role plays would be one of the best one that we
Of
can
course,
implement for this?
role plays with um, daily situations. For
Hmm.
example, let's pretend to that you are at the market. You are at
Hmm.
the market, and let's pretend that you want to buy um, some food or order some food, or let's pretend that we are at the airport, so you want to book a flight, things like that. So
Hmm. Authentic activities, right?
exactly.
Okay, very good. Let's continue with next. Which types of tasks do you prefer? Multiple choice or open-ended questions, and why?
Um. Well, I think that I would like open-ended question because I have the opportunity, to express my idea, um, and write, the information that I suppose that is the right one.
Mhm.
Yes,
And remember for these questions, we have to take into account something that depends on the ability that you want to assess. Because
exactly.
if you're gonna assess speaking, so the right one would be open-ended questions, right?
Yes,
But if you want to assess one of the sub skills like grammar or vocabulary, it could be multiple choice, okay? Because
yeah,
both are correct, but depends on the ability or sub ability that you want to assess, right?
yes.
Okay, what about this? If he had to create a task for this course, what steps would you follow?
Mm,
And I'm talking about for this course that you're taking now.
okay, so first of all, so I will put the topics that the test will focus on. Um, I will put like clear instructions that they need to follow. I will put some activities related. For example, if I want to focus in present simple, I will uh, put activities like to complete or to write sentences.
Mhm,
Um, Also, I can put some questions that they need to ask, things
mhm.
like that. Yes.
Okay. And okay, everything was good, but the burning question is, which of those one that you were mentioning would be the first that you have to take into account when creating a test?
Mm, I don't.
Okay, let me tell you the objectives. Okay,
Uh,
because remember that we need to know, we need to be clear about what we want to achieve at the end of the course, right? So
yes,
that would be the first one.
the objective.
Yeah, the objective. Then you can select the question types or item types and the grading system and so on. Okay, but first we need to be clear. Okay, uh, with the objectives. Okay,
Okay.
let's move on to next slide. And this is related to the steps that we're gonna take into account when constructing tasks. The first one, as I told at the beginning, is the objective, right? The
Yes.
objective to test here. So we can also say that objective are a specific, measurable, and clearly defined statements. Okay. So that's why that I told you that we need to be clear with this one, because if the objective is clear, so at the end you can achieve it, right?
Yes. Right.
And when talking about test construction, the objective to test is what is being assessed. Okay. I mean that if you're gonna work with sub ability or sub construct like grammar, so you need to define the objective. A student will be able to, for example, but if it is grammar tenses, a student will be able to complete the sentences with the different types of grammar tenses correctly. That could be the objective, right?
Yes.
Let's see another steps that we have to. This is in order, okay? So first we're gonna use the objective, then the construct or subconstruct to test, right? So in here, we need to identify the specific skills or sub skills being evaluated. How so? So when we talk about construct, it means to the, how can I say this? Okay, to the macro skills that English has, like speaking, reading, listening, writing. That is the construct, like skills, okay? And the subconstruct, it refers to the specific aspect, to the specific point or sub skills like pronunciation, punctuation, coherence, fluency, organization, etc. Right?
Right.
Let's see the third one, the item type. So this is so important because it's here where we have to select the question format based on the construct, okay? And we need to take into account the objective items. So which items do you think that can be objective? Well, we have a multiple choice. Do you know what's the function of the multiple choice? Okay, the true or false. If you want to assess reading comprehension, critical analysis, or even vocabulary, matching. Okay, matching the words with their definitions when you want to assess vocabulary. And also we have the fill in the blanks. Those activities, those item types are objective. What about the subjective items? Remember that in the subjective items, we were discussing in the previous session that is here where the answer can vary, okay? So here can be an open-ended questions, oral responses, because if you ask to the student, for example, where do you live? You know that there is not a specific answer about this question. So the question can vary according to the students, right? So in that case, the open-ended questions is a subjective items.
Okay.
Okay. We have short answers, los essays, and performance-based tasks. So something important to define this, okay? Because we need to analyze which kind of item type we have to include there. So we need to see what is the purpose of each one, okay?
Okay, perfect.
Have you got any questions so far?
No, I'm all good.
Okay, good. Remember that these are the steps, okay? Then you have to put such steps in a chart, okay? In a chart, like a specification tests, okay? So, but they are the same. Let's see what is the other step. We have the number of sentences.
Number
Here,
of sen-
yes, here we need to determine how many items will be included. Why? Because we need to balance coverage and student fatigue. Why I decide to put here? Because remember that I would say for most students, when a test has too many questions, that can be overwhelming to the student.
Exactly.
And
And the
even,
answer,
yeah,
whatever. They don't put a lot of attention on that. So
E-
they just want to finish that exam or that test.
yes, they are not focused if they are answering in a good or bad way. So they just answer and they are focused on time, you know?
Exactly.
When the test is too extensive, they put their eyes on the time and not on the quality of the answer that they're gonna do.
That's right.
Okay, good. And another steps that we have to take into consideration in test construction is the time allocated, okay? Here, we have to set a reasonable time limit based on difficulty and item type. Let me explain to you something. For example, you got a test. In the test, you have to measure about grammar and vocabulary, okay? You have two sections, right? So in the grammar tenses, in the grammar section, you said, the item type said, complete the sentences with the correct form of the verb, okay? And we got 5 questions. So that would be 5 sentences, sorry. That would be the number of sentence, 5, right?
Yes.
And we have the vocabulary section and says, matching the words with its definitions. We got 2 sections, right? My question is, which of these sessions would you give more time? To the grammar section?
The first one.
Yes, because it's more difficult, right? Okay, good. So that is related to the time allocated, okay? So we got 5 sentences for completing. So you can put, let's suppose 10 minutes. And for the vocabulary session, we got 5 minutes. So the task is for 15 minutes, a quiz, right?
Okay. Yes.
Good. Let's see.
Rating system.
Yes, something important here. Remember that when you make a test, when you design a test, you have to design a specification tables as well of that test. Even most of the teacher, I would say that they don't do it, but we have to. So what is the grading system? Here, we have to establish how each question is scored. So I mean, I'm gonna take the same example that I gave you before, the grammar section and the vocabulary section. You know that grammar section is more difficult than vocabulary section, right?
Yes.
And we got the quiz, it's for 20 points. And you decide to give to the grammar section 5 points and to the vocabulary section 15 points. Do you think that's the correct score that you give for each statement or questions?
No.
No, right? So we
No.
need to be reasonable, right? We need to put the right mhm.
Yes, the exam needs to be fairly.
Yes, that's why that I told you. We need to take into account always the principal assessment, okay? Because if you do that, the test is not practical.
Exactly.
The test is not valid. And when talking about the grading system, there are two key points that we need to include in the specification table chart. The first one, the right answer. Okay.
Yes, right answer.
I mean, in the right answer in your chart, in your specifications, you need to write down the right answer of the test. Okay. So you give the test to the students in blank, but in your specification, you need to include the right answer of that. Okay. And other thing that we need to take into account in the grading system is the weight. Weight is related to the point. Okay. So if the quiz is for 20 points, okay, we got 20 points for the whole quiz, but in the quiz, we have two sections. The first one is for 15 points, and the last one, the second section is for 5 points. At the end, we got 20 points in total, right? But we need to include both there. You understand what I mean?
Yes, yes.
So questions?
No, all good.
Okay, good. So these 6 steps that we got here, so you need to include it in your specification tables, okay? So let's see the conclusion. So what can we say about the test constructions? So the effective test constructions is a critical process in educational assessment, ensuring that evaluations are valid, reliable, and aligned with learning objectives. Those things, remember that they have to be aligned, okay? They have to work together.
They need to be connected to each other.
Yes, yes. By following a structured approach, defining objective first, that would be the first one, selecting appropriate construct, choosing the suitable item types, determining the number of items, allocating time effectively, and establishing a fair grading system. We can create assessment that accurately measure student performance and learning outcomes. So those are the steps that we were discussing before, okay? And as educators, our goal is not just to test knowledge, but to design meaningful assessment that reflect true competency and provide valuable feedback for both students and instructors. A well-constructed test enhances the learning experience, promotes fairness, and supports academic growth. So let me tell you that for the task that you will be doing for this session, so you will find on the platform a test, okay, an exam, and you have to design a specification chart for such exam, okay? So what points, what aspects you're gonna include in your specifications, the steps that we were talking about here in this session, the 6 ones.
Oh, okay. But just to make sure, I need to create like an exam, right? But I need to follow the steps that you provide me, right, before?
Yes, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you, okay?
Please.
Just give me a minute.
The last session class or
No, we got another one. Number 6 is gonna be the last on tutoring virtual, okay?
Okay.
Can you see there?
It's loading. Just a second.
Okay.
Right now. No.
Okay, we got this. These are the instructions. So we're gonna test grammar and vocabulary. Analyze the grammar and vocabulary test given in a class for 11th grade high school students. Then do the following. Write a clear testing objective for each item or activity. Report the following test specifications in a table. So these are gonna be the things that we're gonna include in the specification, okay? So the same one that we were discussing, okay? And how do you evaluate the test in terms of practicality, reliability, validity, and authenticity? You have to explain here. So you can say, okay, related to the practicality, this test is this for this and this, okay? You need to include in what part of the test you can put into practice the practicality, okay? And investigate techniques or instruments that are commonly used to test language skills or soft skills focused on how they are constructed, their advantages and disadvantages. They are the instructions. Here we got the test, okay? So in the test, we got 2 sections, but here it's all together, okay? In your specification table, you need to separate which sections belong to grammar and which sections belong to the vocabulary, okay?
Okay.
So this is the test. Just we only got the item types, we only got the exercises, but we didn't have the answer, we didn't have the points. So you need to include that. You need to evaluate what would be the score for each one according to the level of difficulty, okay? And
Okay.
you need to resolve the test, because remember that in your specification chart, you need to include the right answer for them, for each, okay?
Okay.
Ahora un poco más clara, ¿verdad?
Sí. Sí. O sea, conforme a ese test, ¿verdad? Que está presentando, yo voy a poner en práctica lo que los 6 pasos, ¿verdad? Que usted ya
Exacto,
explicó.
lo vas a hacer en un cuadro y lo vas a evaluar. Aquí yo solo te estoy dando las actividades, aquí no te estoy dando ni puntuación, no te los estoy separando ni por sección. Recordad que el segundo paso que miramos en la presentación era el construct y subconstruct.
Sí.
Entonces, en este caso, como solo voy a evaluar gramática y vocabulario, entonces estamos hablando de subconstruct, ¿verdad? Entonces, puedes separar cuando definas el objetivo. El subconstruct es grammar. Vas a separar los ejercicios que pertenecen a gramática.
Sí.
Después le pasas una rayita, ¿verdad? O otra fila. Me imagino que lo vas a hacer en digital.
Sí.
Otra fila, definir cuál va a ser el
Objetivo.
objetivo a evaluar. Exacto. El subconstruct, cuál va a ser el vocabulary. Y empezás a identificar cuáles son los item types, cuáles son el number of sentences que tiene cada item type, después qué tiempo le vas a dar, dependiendo de la dificultad que tenga cada ejercicio, cuánto tiempo crees vos que le vas a dar en total, y al final, en el grading system, tenés que incluir 2 cosas. Uno, la respuesta correcta. Por eso te decía que para eso hay que resolver el examen, ¿verdad? Entonces,
Sí.
uno, la respuesta correcta, y 2, el peso total. Es decir, por ejemplo, miremos acá. El punto 1 dice que tengo 5 oraciones que hay que corregirla. Ok, entonces este punto 1, supongamos que yo le voy a dar 40 puntos, por decirlo así, ¿verdad? Entonces yo le pongo que al subconstruct tal, le di 40 puntos, y ahí yo tengo que especificar de esos 40 puntos cuánto vale cada uno de ellos. Como tengo 5, en este caso pues saldría 8 point each, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Entonces, eso tenés que especificarlo en tu tabla, ¿verdad? De especificaciones. El peso total, el puntaje total por cada item type, y el puntaje individual que lleva cada actividad dentro de ese item type.
Ok. Entendido.
¿Ok? Entonces, esa sería la tarea, ¿verdad? Para esta sesión número 5. Ya está en la plataforma, solo revisa ahí, trata de subirla. Siempre las ha subido, pues, ¿verdad? En tiempo y forma, pero trata de revisar ahí la fecha para que lo subas normal. Y hoy somos jueves, el día lunes estaríamos haciendo nuestra última sesión virtual, ¿verdad?
Sí.
para acumular los 60 puntos, porque vamos acumulando 10 por cada sesión y ya solo nos quedaríamos en la séptima sesión, que ya sería el examen final. Ahí ya no nos reuniríamos virtual, sino que solo va a estar disponible la tarea y tú procedes a realizarla.
Ok.
Ahora te pregunto, ¿te parece si la tarea tocaría el próximo jueves de hoy en 8? ¿La podrías hacer antes tú? Porque con eso no hay ningún problema, la podemos adelantar.
Esta tarea
No, no, estoy hablando ya cuando
del examen.
terminemos el examen final, exacto, la sesión
Ah,
7,
sí, sí, profe.
porque esa la podríamos adelantar y no esperar hasta la siguiente semana.
Sí,
Entonces, tú me dices si la hacemos a ver, el jueves nos toca el lunes nos toca la última sesión. Tú me dices si la hacemos al siguiente día o el día miércoles. Y
está
yo te la,
bien, profe.
y yo te la habilito ahí para que ya salgamos de esto, lo hagas y yo así proceder a hacer el acta de calificación, imprimir todas tus evidencias y que ellos la suban al sistema, los de
Sí, profe,
registro acá.
no hay problema.
Ok, excelente. Entonces, así quedamos entonces y nos vemos el lunes, ¿ok?
Dele pues, profe. Buenas noches.
Ok, igual, buenas noches.